thing we learn from horror movies is there are certain rules you follow. And that's the case with the filming location video we're doing today. In 2007, the movie Trick or Treat come out, and we learned there that you respect the Halloween traditions and you respect the holiday itself. Otherwise, a creature named Sam may come for you.
Henry and Emma are through for the night, and they would be walking right down this sidewalk to their house right here. Now in the movie, this is a white picket fence, and the house looks a little different because that house was actually torn down for some reason and rebuilt. So now you got these lovely hedges, but this would be the gate going to their house, and they would stop here, and she's like, I'm spent, you're spent, this little guy's done, and she blows out the jack-o'-lantern candle.
It's just magical. It makes me wish every night was Halloween. Baby, I'm lit, and you're lit.
Honey,
Our little friend here, this night's over.
And she wants to take all of the decorations down tonight. Henry doesn't want to. But little do they know that they're being watched. And something right where I'm standing, looking at them, because you can see this tree blocking the door in the shot, doesn't like the fact that Emma just blew out that jack-o'-lantern candle. And it would be an act that she would come to regret, because Sam was watching her, and Sam didn't like that candle being blown out, and Sam didn't like the fact that Emma hated Halloween.
You know, you should be more careful. There are rules. You might have said something.
Oh, please. Who?
So Emma's in her yard taking down the decorations, and she looks across the street. And right about where Renee's standing, because you can see this light pole in the shot, no car though, get that thing out of here. There's a figure in a white mask and a robe standing at the curb. And she's taking down decorations. She's starting to feel a little freaked out because this person is just staring at her. But in the shot, when the cameras, or when she and the camera are looking at this figure, we can see this house here because there are kids coming and going from this house. This one, the railing is different. Looks like it's been updated with some metal railing from the movie, but you can see the lantern looking lights on each side of the front porch that are lit up. There would be a white picket fence going between the two houses. And then she realizes just some teenagers as a Volkswagen Beetle pulls up, and the guy's like, about time, and leaves.
It took you guys so long.
Now right here, in this general area where this picket fence would be, is where Emma meets her demise. There would be some kids walking from my left as Sam jumps Emma, throws a sheet over her, stabs her, kills her, and the three boys see the white sheet splatter with blood from the inside. They ain't having none of it. They would take off down the sidewalk, like, nope, not trick-or-treating, no more at that house. And then we would see Emma's body getting drugged by Sam back through the fence inside. And poor Henry's passed out upstairs because Emma was taking too long. Now, you may not have been able to see it from across the road whenever I was talking, but you can clearly see, we know this is Emma and Henry's house because even these bushes They were a lot shorter, but you can clearly see the neighbor's house in the shot when the camera is shooting Emma and Henry. You better look at the neighbor's house that lives next to Emma and Henry that you can see in multiple shots when the camera's filming them in their yard and filming them coming home. This next shot, we are right across the street from Emma and Henry's house. And we get a shot, there's a bunch of white picket fences right here. And we see Charlie walking by in this direction, knocking each jack-o'-lantern off. So the camera's kind of going to him, and it's right down the fence like this. And as you can tell, there's no fence here now. But as he gets to Mr. Wilkins' house, he's going to stop right about here. And he sees Mr. Wilkins' house. He sees all the jack-o'-lanterns up there. But the camera, when he stops and is looking at Charlie like this, you can actually see Emma and Henry's house still lit up across the street. Now Charlie would enter through the gate, and he would go on up, and he sees the sign that says, "We're not at home, help yourself to one," in giant letters, piece 1. And of course, you know, him being a pig, he starts just shoveling all the candy in his bag.
And that's when he gets busted.
Busted by Mr. Wilkins. Yep. He's like, "Oh, you know, isn't that bad for your diabetes?"
That can't be good for your diabetes, Charlie.
And Charlie, you know, you can tell by the look on his face, he's like, "I'm in trouble," you know. But Mr. Wilkins sits him down on the porch, and he's carving the eyes out of a pumpkin, talking to Charlie. And then Charlie starts not feeling very well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, you need..." Yep. He starts vomiting all over the steps. And, you know, that's when Mr. Wilkins informed him, you know, there's two sides to it. There's the trick or the... And that's would be pretty much the last you see of Charlie.
Trick or...
You see him get drugged in by Mr. Wilkins into this door. And eventually he gets buried in the backyard.
Well, he gets beheaded first.
And he gets his head cut off.
Yeah.
Well, while he's in the grave. Because he's trying to come back to life. Mr. Wilkins kind of stomps all over and then cuts his finger off to throw it over the fence. Over this fence. To the backyard of this house. To shut the dog up. And then cuts Charlie's head off with the shovel.
Mm-hmm.
Where him and his also deranged son...
Have to do some carving.
Yeah, they carve it up.
It's very important that he gets help with the eyes.
Exactly. He made that very clear through the whole freaking scene. Then you help me with the eyes, Daddy. We're headed toward Rhonda's house, which is just a few houses down from Mr. Krieg and Mr. Wilkins. We've just seen Macy and two of her friends ask Mr. Wilkins if they could have his jack-o'-lantern. It's for a good cause. So he gives it to them. They see Schrader, and she's like pushing the buggy, like, "This is all you got?" He's like, "Yeah, somebody came by, knocked all the jack-o'-lanterns off, smashed a bunch of them."
And we know who that was.
And we know who that is.
That's it.
Sorry, but some asshole went up and down the street smashing all of them. But we have 3. Isn't this enough?
Almost.
So they head down here to Rhonda's house. And you see that Rhonda's yard is full of jack-o'-lanterns. To where I believe it's Schrader that's like, "Why didn't we just start here?" And of course Rhonda comes out and You know, they walk off and leave Schrader there to basically talk her into coming with them. And this is Rhonda's house. So this entire yard would have been filled with all different kind of lit up jack-o'-lanterns. And we would see Rhonda come out the door there in her costume that she's also made herself. And she would agree to go off with Macy and her other 3 friends to visit the kids from the bus with 8 jack-o'-lanterns to show their respect.
Macy, why didn't we just start here?
I didn't know she'd do this. This is weird.
Did you carve all these yourself?
Yeah, made my costume too. Like it?
I do.
Ultimately, out of all of the stories, I believe, I think the kids in the bus are the most creepy to me.
Yeah.
Like, that was probably my favorite part of the anthology.
One thing I almost forgot that you see in the movie is when Charlie is walking down the sidewalk, knocking all the jack-o'-lanterns off. For a moment, when he first stops and sees Principal Wilkins' house, across the street, right about Emma and Henry's house, you see Schrader. Like, he stops and he kind of looks, and then you see him quickly pushing that buggy.
He's surveying the pumpkin situation.
Yeah, that's how he knew that somebody had smashed all the pumpkins. But you see him across the road, like, and I mean, it's like he stops, he sees Charlie had knocked him off, and then all of a sudden he just really fast right on down the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So there's little tidbits I like that you see from other characters and their stories in the background of whatever main story is being told at the time. That's pretty cool.
Our next story part of the movie, it comes from Macy. She's retelling a legend, supposedly, of a Halloween bus massacre. Now, the shot starts off kind of high, pans down, and you get these beautiful set of trees lining the street.
Even though the trees don't have leaves on them in the story.
Because it's supposed to be set in Ohio, not Canada.
Right.
But the bus is filled with 8 kids. Now, these are supposedly bad kids, you know, and that the parents made a deal with the bus driver to get rid of them because they've become a nuisance. So the bus driver would have been driving toward us and stop at this stop sign. And if you look to the right of the shot, you can see the railing, the white railing over here on this house. And over to the left, you can see the peaks of these 2 houses.
Yep, you can see the design on the front of this one, the peaks of that one, and then the house next to the railing, you can actually see that window and the flat top on it, only there would have been thicker bushes through here, and this tree would have been more full.
A school bus was on its usual route. But this wasn't your typical school bus.
So he ultimately, you see his hand reach down, hits the blinker, and the bus would have made this turn right here.
And
ultimately leading to the spot where it would have went off the cliff.
Yep.
But that day, the driver took a different route.
It was whenever he makes this turn that one of the kids with the vampire costume on starts going wrong way, wrong, like kind of to himself, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way.
And he's the one that ultimately
drives him off the cliff.
Wrong way. Wrong way.
Because he's like, home, home.
Yeah, they should have tightened his hand restraints.
Well, he meant well.
Yeah. He wanted to go home. He said he wanted to go home, but
Yeah.
he just didn't know what he was doing and just drove it straight off the cliff and into the water. Now, when the bus driver pulls up to the stop sign, it's a very low angle shot. I mean, we're talking like this almost. Let me back up a little. So you get a shot a little wider than this, where you can see a little bit of those handrails, but it would have been way down, kind of tilted up like this. That would have been your bus sitting there before it makes that turn. We're here at Mr. Krieg's house, and you see the camera kind of pan down like this until you get to the front. And we see some kids standing right here. They want to go up and knock on the door to get some candy, but they're reluctant. They eventually open this squeaky gate and they go on up to the house. And you get a shot kind of when they're up there, it's to the side, kind of through some stuff, bushes like this, right? Now, they would eventually knock on the door, one of the boys would, and you hear a whole bunch of locks. Mr. Kree's got a lot of locks on his door.
He has a reason to be paranoid, though.
Yeah. And the door would open and these boys would see these glowing eyes, get freaked out, drop their candy on the porch, come running down this sidewalk, through the gate, and then they would tear off in this direction. And you can see Mr. Kree's the only one, I think, in the neighborhood that it shows doesn't have a white picket fence. It's like a metal iron fence with a squeaky door. And once the kids have left their candy, Mr. Kree would walk out. He's put some scary eyes on his dog, which is what scared the three boys, and he takes all 3 bags of candy for himself.
Ultimately, it would be here in this location too, where Sam goes to battle with Mr. Kree. And these two were steadily going at it, and we get the infamous lollipop. Sam pulls it out, takes a bite of it, and it's got that shape that we all know and love. Stabs it into him, then gets up, walks out. And Mr. Kree thinks, okay, I've made it. I guess I better follow the rules of Halloween. And he starts playing nice. That is until the students that he drove off the cliff come back for him, because we all know he was the bus driver from the other story.
Trick or treat.
The last scene in the movie ultimately comes full circle, all the way back to the beginning, because we're here at Mr. Krieg's house, seeing him all bandaged up, his head's bandaged up, his around his jaw, his right arm's in a sling, but he's handing out candy to little kids. And one of the little girls says, "Nice mummy costume, Mr. Kree," as she walks off.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Creek. Great mommy costume.
Well, he walks out onto his porch and he looks to his left and he sees Mr. Wilkins' son sitting on the steps, dressed a lot like the kids from earlier would have seen him, with the blood on the shoulder, sitting there, and he's handing out candy.
Thank you.
And he looks across the road, or he looks down from his steps, and he sees Sam standing right next to a tree. Right next to, actually, this tree right here. He would then look up and see Rhonda pulling the wagon just past Emma and Henry's house as she comes off into the road and almost gets hit by the car full of werewolves. And that's when we see Emma and Henry coming home, to where we see at the beginning of the movie where she wants to take the decorations down. Sam's still standing next to the tree. He turns around and is watching them. And that would have been her blowing out the candle from the beginning of the movie, causing her demise.
You know, you should be more careful. There are rules. You might upset someone.
Oh, please. Who?
So full circle. You gotta love it when you get all different stories in a movie, but then they ultimately somehow all tie together, and then you get to see how they all tie together. That's what makes a really great horror movie. Well, that's it for this trick or treat video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've seen the movie, let us know. And let us know what your favorite story within the movie was. And also, let us know if there's any other movies you'd like for us to go check out and do a little video on, now and then type video. Special shout out to our VIP Road Warrior patron, Crip Lady. Thanks for your sponsorship each month. Thank you for watching this video. Head over to Patreon and check it out. Become a sponsor. Become a sponsor and support her on TikTok and YouTube. You know the routine. Catch you down the road at the next exit.
Keep it spooky.
Later.